Let me tell you something straight. Worry is like trying to drive a car with the emergency brake on. You're burning energy, spinning your wheels, but you're not going anywhere. We all know that feeling, right? That gnawing anxiety that sits in your chest, whispering, what if I fail? What if it doesn't work out? But here's the truth: worry never leads to success. Success is built on action, not on pacing the floor or replaying worst case scenarios in your head. When you worry, you're stuck in the parking lot, but success is waiting on the open road. You've got to let go of the fear and put your foot on the gas. Let's talk about worry. It's something all of us have experienced at some point, right? That feeling where your mind won't stop racing, where you're caught in a loop of what ifs and maybes. You lie awake at night, heart pounding, imagining the worst possible outcomes. But here's what you need to understand deep down: worry is completely unproductive. It's a trap, a thief of time, energy, and peace. And it doesn't solve a single problem. When you worry, you're essentially running the same anxious mental movie over and over again. Your brain gets stuck spinning scenarios, rehearsing failures, and predicting doom. The problem is, this mental rehearsal isn't preparing you for success. It's preparing you for defeat. It's like rehearsing a dance routine, but only focusing on the missteps, never on the moves that make you shine. And the more you worry, the more you convince yourself that failure is inevitable. But here's the kicker: that's simply not true. Worry doesn't prepare you for life, it paralyzes you. Why is worry so unproductive? Because it's a misuse of one of your most valuable resources, your energy. Your mind is like a muscle. It gets stronger with the right exercise, but it also gets tired when you use it in the wrong way. When you worry, you're exercising your fear muscle, not your power muscle. You're wasting energy imagining problems instead of creating solutions. That's like trying to build a house by staring at blueprints all day, but never lifting a hammer. No matter how many times you picture the house, it won't build itself. You've got to put in the work. Another reason worry is unproductive is because it doesn't change reality. You can worry about something until you're blue in the face, but it won't alter the outcome. The storm will still come, the challenge will still show up, and the obstacles will remain. Worry doesn't change the situation, it just changes your mood. It makes you tired, distracted, and less capable of facing whatever comes your way. Instead of helping, worry actually gets in your way. Imagine a time when you worried so much about a problem that you lost sleep, energy, and focus. Did that worry fix the problem? Most likely not. In fact, it probably made things worse by making you feel exhausted and overwhelmed. You might have even made mistakes because your mind was clouded with anxiety. That's the dangerous cycle of worry. It feeds itself, grows bigger, and drags you down. Now, let's flip the script for a moment. Think about what happens when you stop worrying. When you decide to shift your focus from fear to action, something amazing starts to happen. Suddenly, your mind clears up. You're not distracted by what if anymore. Instead, you're asking, what can I do right now? And that question is powerful because it moves you forward. It turns your energy from a wasteful drain into a productive force. Stopping worry doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It means recognizing that worry itself is not the answer. It means understanding that your time and energy are limited and you have to spend them wisely. You have to focus on solutions, not fears. It means training your mind to catch those worries before they spiral out of control and gently redirecting your thoughts toward what you can control. And here's the truth. When you do that, your ability to handle challenges grows exponentially. You start to see problems as opportunities to learn rather than as threats to avoid. You develop resilience. You become someone who doesn't get stuck in the mental mud, but instead finds a path through it. That's the mindset that leads to success. But remember, this doesn't happen overnight. Worry is a habit, and habits take time to break. The first step is awareness. Notice when you're worrying and ask yourself, is this helping me? Is this moving me closer to my goal? Most of the time, the answer will be no. Then practice redirecting your thoughts. Focus on what you can do right now, even if it's just a small step. It might help to remind yourself worry is like carrying around a heavy backpack filled with stones. The longer you carry it, the more exhausted you become. But when you set it down, even for a moment, you can breathe easier, think clearer, and move faster. You don't have to carry that burden all the time. The next time worry creeps in, remember this, it's not your friend. It's a distraction and a thief. It's something that uses your energy, but doesn't give anything back. If you want to succeed, if you want to grow, to build, to create, you have to let go of worry. Save your energy for action, for preparation, for learning. Because worry never leads to success. Only action does. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the mindset that separates those who dream from those who achieve. So stop worrying and start doing. Your success depends on it. Let's get real about success. Many people think success comes from dreaming big or having incredible ideas. And while those things matter, the real secret behind success isn't what you imagine, it's what you do. Success requires action, not anxiety. Too often, people get caught up in worrying about every little thing, hoping that if they just think hard enough or stress enough, success will magically appear. But here's the truth, it doesn't work that way. Success is a result of consistent, intentional action. Anxiety might feel like you're preparing for something, like you're gearing up for battle. But in reality, it's a thief of momentum. When your mind is filled with anxious thoughts, you're not focused on moving forward. You're stuck in a loop of hesitation and doubt. You may have the best ideas, the best dreams, the best plans, but without action, they remain just ideas, dreams, and plans. Nothing changes unless you do something. Think about it this way. Have you ever watched a movie where the hero just sits and worries about the problem? No, the hero jumps into the challenge, makes decisions, takes risks, and sometimes falls down, but they keep getting back up and moving forward. Success is exactly like that. It's about showing up, doing the work, and learning from every step, even the mistakes. Anxiety and action cannot coexist because anxiety paralyzes. It slows you down. It makes simple decisions feel like mountains. When you're anxious, you overthink, second guess, and hesitate. And every moment of hesitation is a moment lost, a moment where someone else is taking action, pushing forward, and grabbing the opportunity you're waiting on. You might be thinking, but what if I fail? What if I make a mistake? That's exactly why action is so important. Because when you act, you learn. You discover what works and what doesn't. You adjust your course, improve your skills, and build confidence. Without action, anxiety grows bigger, feeding off fear and uncertainty. But action breaks anxiety's grip by showing you the truth. You're capable. You can handle more than you thought. You can solve problems. You can adapt and thrive. Let's be clear. Action doesn't mean you rush blindly without a plan. It means you prepare, you plan, and then you move forward. Even small steps count. Success isn't about giant leaps all the time. It's about consistent forward movement, no matter how small. Every email sent, every conversation started, every skill practiced, these are actions that chip away at anxiety and build momentum. One of the biggest misconceptions is that you have to be perfect before you start. That's a lie. Waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect plan is just another way anxiety holds you back. The perfect moment rarely comes, and the perfect plan doesn't exist. You learn and improve as you go, but you only get that chance when you take action. Think about the people who inspire you, The ones who achieved great things. They didn't do it because they never felt anxious. They did it because they refused to let anxiety stop them. They acted anyway. They embraced uncertainty and used it as fuel rather than a roadblock. Action also shifts your mindset. When you act, you start seeing progress. You start feeling capable. Your confidence grows, and with it, your ability to face bigger challenges. Anxiety loses its power because you've proven to yourself you can handle whatever comes your way. This creates a cycle. The more you act, the less anxious you become. The more you act. That's the kind of momentum that leads to success. On the flip side, anxiety without action creates a vicious cycle. The more you worry, the less you do. The less you do, the more anxious you become. That cycle keeps people stuck, watching opportunities pass by while they remain frozen. Don't let that be you. Remember, anxiety is a signal. It's your body's way of telling you something matters. That's fine. But you don't have to be controlled by it. Use that energy as a sign that it's time to act, not to freeze. Turn your anxiety into motivation and let it push you forward instead of holding you back. Action also builds resilience. When you take action, sometimes things go wrong. That's part of the process. But each setback is a lesson, and each lesson makes you stronger. Anxiety can make failure feel like the end of the world, but action teaches you it's just a step on the journey. Here's what you need to do. Stop letting anxiety convince you that waiting or worrying is a strategy. It's not. The only way forward is through action. Start with what you have. Start with what you know. Take the first step, no matter how small, and then keep going. Trust yourself enough to act even when you're scared. Because the truth is, success is less about never feeling anxiety and more about refusing to let anxiety stop you. Action moves you from a place of fear to a place of power. It turns your dreams from wishes into reality. It builds the confidence and skills you need to keep climbing higher. If you want to succeed, you have to act. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Now, because action is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. When anxiety comes knocking, remember this, you've got the power to act. And action, consistent, focused, fearless action is the real path to success. Let's talk about control, or more importantly, what you can control in your life. One of the biggest reasons people get stuck in worry and frustration is that they spend too much time stressing about things beyond their reach. It's like trying to steer a boat while focusing on the storm clouds on the horizon instead of the wheel in your hands. If you want to move forward, if you want to succeed, you have to learn this simple but powerful truth. Focus on what you can control. Think about the moments when you feel overwhelmed. Usually it's because you're caught up in uncertainty, guessing at outcomes, or worrying about what other people might think or do. These things are important to us. That's natural. But here's the thing. You cannot control other people's choices, the weather, the economy, or a million other external factors. Trying to control them is a waste of energy that leaves you exhausted and stuck. Instead, imagine what happens when you turn your attention to the one thing you can control yourself. Your mindset, your attitude, your effort, your actions. These are all within your power. When you realize this, a shift happens. Suddenly, you're no longer a victim of circumstance, but the captain of your own ship. You may not control the storm, but you control how you steer through it. Let's break down what focusing on what you can control really means. First, it means accepting that some things are simply outside your influence. That can feel uncomfortable at first because our minds naturally want to fix everything, to solve every problem, and to make everything perfect. But acceptance is not giving up. It's freeing yourself from unnecessary mental burden. Once you accept what you cannot control, you free up your mental and emotional energy to put into what you can influence. That could be your daily habits, how you respond to challenges, your work ethic, your willingness to learn, or the attitude you bring to every situation. These things are powerful because they shape your path forward. Focus on effort over outcome. This is a crucial mindset shift. Outcomes depend on many factors, many beyond your control. But effort is always within your grasp. You can decide how much energy and dedication you bring to your goals every day. When you focus on your effort, you build consistency, resilience, and growth, all essential ingredients for success. Another part of controlling yourself is managing your thoughts and emotions. You can't always control what happens around you, but you can control how you interpret those events. Your thoughts influence your feelings, and your feelings influence your actions. When you focus on positive, constructive thoughts and refuse to dwell on negativity, you take control of your inner world. This doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending everything is fine when it's not. It means choosing how you respond. For example, if something unexpected happens, like a setback or a failure, instead of spiraling into worry or blame, you ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What can I do next? This mindset turns problems into opportunities and builds your ability to adapt and grow. Control also means setting boundaries. Sometimes the things you can control involve who and what you allow into your life. You can control the company you keep, the information you consume, and the habits you form. Choosing these wisely creates an environment that supports your success and minimizes unnecessary stress. Think about athletes, entrepreneurs, or leaders you admire. One thing they have in common is that they don't waste time complaining about the weather, the competition, or unfair circumstances. Instead, they focus relentlessly on what they can control, their training, their preparation, their mindset. This focus is what separates those who succeed from those who get stuck. When you focus on what you can control, you reclaim your power. You stop being a passenger in your own life and start being the driver. This shift doesn't just help you feel better. It changes your reality because you start making intentional choices that move you forward. Of course, focusing on what you can control requires practice and patience. Our minds naturally want to control everything, especially when life gets tough. But every time you catch yourself worrying about something outside your control, gently bring your attention back to yourself. Ask, what can I do right now? What is within my power? That simple question is a tool for clarity and calm. It's also important to remember that controlling yourself doesn't mean doing everything alone. You can control asking for help, learning from others, and seeking advice. These actions are within your control and can multiply your effectiveness. Focusing on what you can control is a mindset of empowerment. It helps you use your energy wisely, reduces unnecessary stress, and builds the habits and resilience that lead to success. Instead of being overwhelmed by everything you can't change, you become focused and intentional about everything you can change. The next time you feel worry creeping in, pause and ask yourself, am I spending time on something outside my control? If the answer is yes, shift your focus. Put your energy into your effort, your attitude, your choices, because that's where your power lies. That's the place where success begins. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, control isn't about having power over the world. It's about having power over yourself. And when you master that, you're unstoppable. Let's talk about growth, real, meaningful growth. Growth that pushes you forward, helps you become better, stronger, wiser. Growth that leads you closer to your dreams and goals. But here's the problem: worry stunts growth. It doesn't fuel progress, it halts it. It's like planting a seed but never watering it, expecting it to grow anyway. If you want to grow, if you want to unlock your true potential, you have to understand how worry holds you back and how to break free from it. Worry is a mental pattern that traps you in fear, doubt, and hesitation. When you worry, your mind is consumed by what if scenarios. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if things don't work out? These questions don't inspire you to move forward. They make you freeze in place. And when you freeze, you stop learning, you stop trying new things, and you stop growing. Growth requires action. Action that often involves stepping into the unknown, taking risks, and sometimes failing. Worry, on the other hand, keeps you locked in your comfort zone, avoiding those risks and challenges. But here's the catch. The comfort zone is exactly where growth stops. It's a safe place, yes, but it's also a place where your potential shrinks instead of expands. When you worry, you're focused on what could go wrong, which means you're not focused on what you could gain. Your energy goes toward avoiding pain rather than pursuing progress. And this fear-driven mindset limits your willingness to try new things or push beyond what feels safe. Growth, though, happens in discomfort. When you face challenges head-on, when you stretch yourself beyond your limits, and when you learn from mistakes. Another way worry stunts growth is by clouding your judgment and creativity. When your mind is tangled in worry, it becomes harder to think clearly or come up with solutions. Worry narrows your focus, so instead of seeing possibilities, you only see obstacles. This limits your ability to innovate, adapt, and overcome the challenges that come your way. Think about it. When was the last time you worried intensely about something only to find yourself stuck, unable to make decisions or take steps forward? That's worry holding you hostage. It blocks your ability to act and to learn. Growth requires curiosity, exploration, and boldness, and worry kills all three. Now, breaking free from worry is the key to unlocking growth. But that's easier said than done, right? Worry is a habit, a hardwired response to uncertainty and risk. It's part of our survival instinct designed to keep us safe. But in today's world, where success depends on risk, taking and adaptability, worry often does more harm than good. To grow, you have to retrain your mind to respond differently to uncertainty. Instead of asking, what if I fail? Start asking, what if I succeed? Or, what can I learn if I try? This simple shift in perspective rewires your brain from fear to possibility. It opens doors instead of closing them. Growth also requires you to be okay with discomfort. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Worry tries to protect you from discomfort, but growth demands you move toward it. It asks you to face your fears, to take imperfect action, and to learn from every experience, success, or failure. When you stop worrying and start focusing on growth, you build resilience. You develop a mindset that sees setbacks not as the end, but as stepping stones. You begin to embrace challenges as opportunities for improvement. This resilience is what separates those who keep growing from those who remain stuck. Another important point is that growth is a process, not a destination. You don't just wake up one day as your best self. Growth happens gradually through repeated efforts, lessons learned, and mindset shifts. Worry makes you want immediate results or guarantees, and when those don't come, it discourages you. But growth asks for patience, persistence, and faith in the journey. Breaking the worry habit also means being kind to yourself when worry creeps in, and it will recognize it without judgment. Instead of beating yourself up for feeling anxious, acknowledge it and gently refocus on what you can do next. Growth thrives in an environment of self-compassion where you accept your imperfections and commit to keep moving forward anyway. Remember, worry is like a heavy chain that holds you back from stepping into your potential. Growth is the key that breaks those chains. When you let go of worry, you open yourself up to new experiences, learning, and transformation. You stop being limited by fear and start being powered by possibility. If you want to grow, really grow, you have to make a choice. Choose to stop worrying about what might go wrong and start focusing on what could go right. Choose to embrace discomfort as a sign that you're stretching yourself. Choose to see setbacks as lessons, not failures. Choose to trust the process and keep moving forward, no matter what. Growth isn't something that happens to you. It's something you create by how you think, how you act, and how you respond to worry. When you understand that worry stunts growth, you gain the power to break free and become the best version of yourself. And that is where true success begins. Let's take a moment to talk about peace of mind, that deep sense of calm, clarity, and focus that feels like a superpower in today's chaotic world. Peace of mind is not just a nice to have, it's an essential ingredient for productivity and success. And here's the thing, worry destroys peace of mind. When you're consumed by worry, your mind is cluttered with distractions, doubts, and fear. That noise drains your energy and blocks your ability to get things done. But when you cultivate peace of mind, you unlock a powerful force that fuels your productivity and propels you forward. Think about the times you've been most productive. Chances are it was when your mind was clear and focused, when you weren't weighed down by anxious thoughts or what if scenarios. You could concentrate on the task at hand, make decisions quickly, and take deliberate action. That's peace of mind at work. It's the foundation that allows you to bring your best self to every challenge and opportunity. Worry, on the other hand, scatters your attention. When you worry, your brain is divided. Part of it is stuck on the problem you're anxious about, while the other part tries to focus on the task in front of you. This split focus means you're never fully present or fully effective. It's like trying to drive a car while looking in the rearview mirror. You're distracted by what's behind you and can't fully control where you're going. Science backs this up. Studies show that chronic worry and anxiety impair cognitive functions like memory, decision-making, and problem-solving. When your brain is overloaded with stress hormones, it becomes harder to think creatively, plan strategically, and stay organized. In other words, worry is productivity's worst enemy. But peace of mind does the opposite. When you have peace, your brain functions at its best. You can focus deeply, make better decisions, and work more efficiently. You're less likely to be overwhelmed or burned out because you're managing your energy wisely. This state of calm alertness helps you get more done in less time with higher quality and less stress. How do you cultivate peace of mind in a world designed to steal it away? The first step is learning to recognize when worry is creeping in. Awareness is powerful. When you notice anxious thoughts, don't push them away or get frustrated with yourself. Instead, acknowledge them, understand that they're natural, but remind yourself that worry doesn't serve your goals. Then gently redirect your focus to what you can control or to the task at hand. Another essential practice is creating routines and habits that support mental calm. This could be anything from daily meditation, journaling, or exercise to simply setting clear priorities and organizing your work. These habits act like anchors, grounding you in the present and helping you resist the pull of worry. Also, don't underestimate the power of breaks and rest. Productivity isn't about working nonstop. It's about working smart and sustainably. When you give yourself permission to pause, breathe, and recharge, you protect your peace of mind. This makes you more resilient to stress and better able to tackle challenges with a fresh perspective. It's also crucial to manage your environment. Surround yourself with people who uplift and support you and minimize exposure to negativity, distractions, or information overload. A peaceful environment nurtures a peaceful mind, which in turn fuels productivity. When you make peace of mind a priority, you build a positive cycle. Calmness leads to focus, focus leads to progress, Progress boosts confidence, and confidence reduces worry. This cycle creates momentum that carries you through even the toughest days. Imagine how different your life could be if you replaced worry with peace. Instead of being drained by anxious thoughts, you'd be energized by clarity and purpose. Instead of procrastinating out of fear, you'd be motivated by calm determination. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, you'd feel capable and in control. Peace of mind is not just a luxury. It's a necessity for anyone who wants to succeed. It's the foundation for clear thinking, effective action, and lasting results. So if you want to stop worrying and start winning, start by nurturing your peace of mind. Protect it fiercely. Feed it daily. Because when your mind is at peace, your productivity soars and success becomes inevitable. Remember this. Worry steals your peace and productivity, but peace of mind fuels your potential. Choose peace, choose focus, choose action. Your success depends on it.